British Freedom Party according to your understanding?
Yeah, certainly. Okay, well, let's get one thing cleared up right from the very beginning. I did not, and I have not, left the British Freedom Party. As everybody is aware, there was a situation that developed with Lee Barnes, not just between myself and Lee Barnes, but with the majority of the executive members and other senior party officers, 11 in total. And as everybody knows, everybody's heard the story, it got to such a situation that we all contacted Peter Mullins as the chairman with a complaint about the behaviour of Lee Barnes, his aggressive and abusive behaviour, his irrational rantings and his inability to work with other people. Now, the response to that from Peter, rather than having a look if there was anything that was would warrant these allegations and then deciding what course of action to take, instead of that he gave us an ultimatum: withdraw the complaints immediately and don't do it again, and all will be forgiven. If we didn't withdraw the complaints, that we would be expelled from the party. Well, we refused to withdraw the complaints. They were all legitimate complaints from, as I say, 11 different individuals who were all party officers, who had all suffered the same sort of abuse from Lee Barnes. So basically we were told, right, if you don't do that, I'm going to expel you. So he expelled us and then came back and said, I will take you all back into the party. If this doesn't happen again, you can come back in on 2 years probation, where at any time Lee Barnes can remove any one or all of you again without a right to appeal for a period of 2 years. Now that is the reason why every single party officer involved refused to accept that offer. So this idea that we, it was all cosy, everything he could to keep us all together, is a nonsense. What he was doing was protecting Lee Barnes, even at the expense of sacking the majority of the executive officers and basically decapitating the whole British Freedom Party. So that was the situation. I and the other officers involved in this don't recognise Peter's authority to be able to do that. It's undemocratic, and also that there could be legal ramifications to it as well. But for a chairman to be unable to stand by his party officers and yet still to espouse that the Freedom Party is an open, modern, free and democratic party is an absolute nonsense.
Well, yeah, it does make one wonder just who is running the British Freedom Party stroke Mullins version. So, sorry to be a bit thick here, Gary. Who is the chairman of the British Freedom Party, the way things stand at the moment with regards to the Electoral Commission? I'm not sure whether you're the chairman of the British Freedom, Mr. Marshall, or whether Peter Mullins is the chairman of the British Freedom Party. I understand it's the Electoral Commission and stuff like that, it's still ongoing. So can you try and explain a bit further for me, please?
Yeah, sure. Okay, this situation with the Electoral Commission, obviously everybody, especially the membership, are extremely fed up of having to wait for a decision from the Electoral Commission. I was actually in contact with them yesterday and received information back from them that a decision had been made by their legal department, and all the involved party officers would be informed in writing within the next few days as to the full decision of the Electoral Commission. Now, there have been some rather wild, knee-jerk, unprofessional reactions from Peter Mullins' side of the party, particularly people like Peter Stafford and Michael Wood, who have shown themselves to be incapable of running a drinking contest in a brewery, let alone a political party. The situation is that nobody knows what the decision is. It's as simple as that. I know that certain people from Mr. Mullins' side of the party are saying that we've lost, they've won, we're not members, we're not party officers, and starting to lay down the law. They've done that on the basis of one thing. Now, my wife, Michelle, who was the treasurer of the party, a little bit of background, she to Peter Mullins as the treasurer, I think it was on the 7th of December last year, that post. He didn't want to have to fill that post himself for whatever reason, and basically it was a case of, well, can we keep this under wraps? We can find somebody to replace her, which Michelle has, you know, very graciously, up until being thrown out of the party by Mr. Mullins, she did. What we've seen on the Electoral Commission website today is Michelle's name has been removed as treasurer, and Peter Mullins' name has been inserted as treasurer as well as chairman. But what is being conveniently overlooked by Mr. Mullins' supporters is the fact that Michael Simpkins is still registered on there as the national nominating officer. If Mr. Mullins' side of the party had won across the board, as they're claiming this afternoon and this evening, then Mick Simpkins' name wouldn't be on there. The fact is, all the Electoral Commission has done today has accepted Michelle's resignation as treasurer and done the normal thing of putting that title to the party chairman until another treasurer is chosen and accepted by the Electoral Commission. That's all. We don't know what the full decision of the Electoral Commission is at all. So anything that you hear from the usual suspects on Mr. Mullins' side of the party, I'll take it with a pinch of salt. They may be right, they may not be right. There may be something in the middle where the Electoral Commission has tried to walk a middle path. But until we get these letters, we don't know.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Well, it's like waiting for a new film to come out, something we just have to sit and wait then, Gary. I've got a question here then. Actually, thinking about it, if Mr. Mullins, as now chairman and treasurer, does that mean that he could perhaps expel people from the party? Would they have a majority or the ability to expel people now?
Well, come on, let's be honest. Mr. Mullins doesn't worry about having majority. When he expelled the 11 party officers back in January, 4 of which were executive members, he expelled 4 executive members by enlisting the help of 3 other executive members. Now, the Constitution says that you need a 2/3 majority to do an expulsion, and yet Peter Mullins expelled 11 party officers on the word of 3 party officers. And one of those was the person who was right in the middle of all this, Lee Barnes. He was the person who all the complaints were about, but as the party legal officer, he fulfilled his part in this by signing off on the expulsion notices. And Simon Bennett's partner, Verity, was enlisted as the party disciplinary officer literally 5 minutes before the expulsions took place, simply to make it possible for them to do that. So we don't have to worry about, you know, following the Constitution as far as Mr. Mullins and co are concerned, but they don't worry about that. They make it up as they go along. If we find that the Electoral Commission has perhaps walked a middle path and all the expelled officers are still party members, presumably that would also mean that they are still in the positions that they held on the executive before the expulsions. Having said that, Peter Mullins has continued to appoint people who are rather sycophantic to support his position. So yes, he would now have a majority to expel anybody that he wanted to. So, you know, it's all down to exactly what the Electoral Commission has said. If they've found in our favour, his favour, walked a middle path, if they have walked a middle line to try and appease both sides, then I can see every possibility that Mr Mullins and his supporters will do everything possible to expel us from the party.
Well, I'm not sure really. I'm going to be completely open. I'm supposed to be non-partisan, but I could never understand anyone joining a political party that was associated with Lee Barnes and Simon Bennett. You strike me as being an intelligent person. I've watched videos of you. I've listened to you talk to Lee Barnes in the conference. Thought it was really interesting. Everybody kissed and made up, and the next day Lee promptly stabbed everyone in the back. I'd come to expect that of him. Why on earth? This is what I really have a difficulty understanding with the people who joined the British Freedom Party. Not that I'm opposed to the British Freedom Party in principle. I think it was a good idea. However, what I don't understand is, how could someone like you join the party with the likes of Simon Bennett in, given his track record in the British National Party? Were you not aware of the things that happened, that Simon Bennett had done?
Yeah, I was totally aware of what he'd done in the past, and perhaps I'd hoped that he wouldn't be allowed to be in a position to do it again. But what we found is, I mean, obviously I wasn't a founding member, although I came in quite early on, obviously in early November. I wasn't a founding member. I wasn't aware initially that Simon Bennett was allowed to register the party logo under his own name, that he was allowed to register the party website again under his own name, although using the credit card of another party member to pay for it. These are the sort of things which I would have thought Peter Mullins would have made sure would never have been allowed to happen again. They should have been registered to the party and not to Simon Bennett as an individual. You're absolutely right. Being involved in a party with Simon Bennett and Lee Barnes was always going to be a risk. I actually thought the idea of cultural nationalism was a good idea. The vast majority of people who were party officers in the Freedom Party were extremely good people. They were honest, loyal and capable people, and we all worked very, very well together. The only problem that we had was the irrational tirades that would come from Lee Barnes, to be quite honest, which made it impossible for people to work. And going on from that Skype conference, you say it was the next day that Lee Barnes stuck the knife in the back. Well, no, it was actually that same night. Soon after the end of that Skype conference, I was contacted by two party officers to tell me that they'd had more abusive emails from him. And again, the next day, I found that other party officers had again had abusive, aggressive, threatening emails from him, demanding that basically you will do everything I want, you will do it the way I want, and that's it. You know, it's my way or no way at all. And you can't treat mature, intelligent, capable people like the naughty school children, but that's exactly the way that he likes to work.
Well, I don't think he treats people like naughty school children. He treats them like a bully, treats someone beneath his contempt. I think he's got a very inflated opinion of himself, and it's his way or no way. And anyone who disagrees is either classed as stupid or something else. Well, it seems to me that